legal, I guess, sort of. If you're not a library, then it's not legal. So we always try to be a library. So that's an example of, would a library do this? Yeah. Okay, well, let's do it. So that's been really successful for us.
How do I access it? I mean, what if I want to see the murder of Sadat, for example?
Yeah. Well, you'd have to dig through the basement. And no, there's no way, there's no public access right now for it.
Okay.
It's just not legal. But we hope someday it will be legal.
So you've taken September 11th and you made real audio files or something out of that, but you haven't done that.
We have ripped that and made that publicly available. So you can go to archive.org and go through the television archive link, and find it.
Okay.
But everything else, it's not legal yet, so we're just holding on to it.
Okay.
So the SF LAN project, this idea is, hey, look, wouldn't it be neat if there was a free wireless backbone for the internet? And I don't know what would happen. Let's see. So what we've done, we have 15 nodes around San Francisco that are basically nodes in this, they all route to each other, so you can walk outside in many parts of San Francisco, and with 802.11b, suddenly you'll be on the network, and you'll actually be on the Internet Archive. And it's
free Wi-Fi.
Yeah, exactly. And you can get a couple megabits, 2-3 megabits per second. So we put up nodes all over, and so that's a project that's been ongoing. We've found people, there's probably about a dozen people, just people that own these nodes. Okay, we sell them for like $1,000. They cost like $600 to make. There's this guy that makes them. Brewster is not a. I don't know. He's kind of a funny kind of philanthropist, sort of. He doesn't get into venture funding or any of that sort of thing. A lot of the people that made a lot of money get into the VC thing. He doesn't do that. What he likes to do is facilitate people's businesses. So he's helping out this fella with this SF LAN project, and he's putting a little tiny bit of money together, and we're trying to create kind of a grassroots sort of thing, and trying to kind of see if we built a free wireless backbone, wouldn't that be cool? And all of us could be like, kind of stick it to the man kind of thing on that whole ISP bill. So we'll see how that works out. But that's what's going on there. So these little boxes that run Linux, and they have a couple of, they've got a transmitter and a receiver, and you just kind of post them up on your house, and they're powered over Ethernet, so they just basically have an Ethernet coming out of them. And they're cool. They're really, really neat. There's a few businesses around the country that are trying to make a business out of this, and we're just kind of pioneering this in San Francisco. And no, there aren't any on the peninsula or the East Bay. I'm sorry. So they're all in San Francisco right now. But we'll get there eventually. So open source web crawlers. So we're developing. There aren't any good open source web crawlers. There just aren't. There's a lot of junky ones out there that don't work. And so we're like, hey, let's do this. Let's enable open source search engines, because it's kind of creepy that there's only one entity that has the metadata of the web. That's Google, and they're a commercial entity. We have no problem with that. That's good. Capitalism's good. But hey, that scares us, right? Let's open this up a little bit. So that's why we're developing this open search, this open crawler, so we can enable search engines. How many people have heard of Nutch? Nutch is a group of people that are basically developing an open source search engine comparable with Google. There's a small group of people. Some of them used to be at Excite. They got some good funding together, and they're just building an open source search engine. Very ambitious. We host them. We host several small projects. We actually host them in our data center to help them out. So you might want to look at Nutch. Academic research. So we have several researchers that, basically with all this stuff, we like say, hey, we've got a lot of machines, we've got a lot of bandwidth, we've got a lot of this, a lot of data. Why don't you screw around and see if you can get your dissertation or something? And so people come to our place, and we just let them log in, we give them counts, and say, hey, go for it. See what happens. And so there's several researchers that we allow to come in. If they have a neat project, we give them the thumbs up, and they can go do whatever they want. So, and we kind of leave that open to the public, really. If you want to crawl around And literally, you're going to be crawling around. There's not really set APIs, well-defined APIs to access a lot of this data. And the infrastructure is getting healthier and more stable, but you really got to be a pioneer, to be able to come in, and there's not a lot of hand-holding. So it's a little rough and tumble right now, and we're working on it getting more friendly. But some of the more tenacious researchers have done really incredible things, including the search engine, which I'll share with you.
What level of academic education would you need to take on this kind of project?
We only take fourth-year PhDs. Oh, I'm totally kidding. Yeah, no, whatever. Like if you're a junior high student, or grade school, and you want to go for it, give you an SSH account. But so it doesn't. Basically, if you're not using it for commercial purposes and you're doing real good research on it, heck, we have no problem. No problem. But
you're located up in the city, right?
Yeah, and this is all really virtual, right? you log in remotely, and that sort of thing, and because if you come to the archive, you'll see a lot of machines.
So what?
It's not a library. It's a digital library, and so
you can do it from your home.
What's that?
You can do it.
You can do it from your home. Yeah, exactly. And but it's a little overwhelming for a lot of people because you log in, you see all these ARC files. It's a special format we have. Funny host names, hundreds of host names. You're like, what's where? And no one's going to sit and help you. If you come to the Friday meetings or set appointments up and really get engaged and you're really passionate, and you're really into it, you're going to get a lot of help. But it's, so only the most tenacious and ambitious really do.
We'll put on an AP News article for the length of about 2 weeks, and then it disappears. Is there any chance your thing captures stuff like that? Or?
It's certainly possible. 2 weeks is a pretty short window for internet time. It's entirely possible that we have captured it, but maybe not. We don't capture everything. We try to capture as much as possible. If you're looking for something in particular, as long as you have the URL of a parent, a well-known parent, like if it was on, I don't know, Netscape News or Yahoo News or whatever, if you put that into the archive and follow it down, you may be able to find it. You might have to do a little manual data mining, but there's a good chance we have it. Hit or miss. Actually, what's interesting is, you guys follow the whole SCO thing, SCO Linux thing?
Oh, really?
So, yeah, maybe a little bit. Crawled back with the Wayback Machine and found SCO's website, and they had released a bunch of their source, and now they're claiming that same source, of course, is proprietary. And so, someone crawled back and said, here's your website on the archive at the Internet Archive, where you publicly release this into open source. What's up with the flim flam? What's going on? So, who knows? We get subpoenas all the time, actually, at the Internet Archive. We have administrative assistant. That's probably a third of her job is dealing with subpoenas and lawyers, and we're named in tons of lawsuits because people say we're evidence. We're always used as evidence. People say, look, it was here, it was this way, and so that's kind of a nice thing, sort of.
Yeah.
I guess we don't really like to be involved with lawsuits, but it's nice if we can help people.
And you replicate your thing in 2 places?
We are right now. Well, we have the out of sync replication, Egypt and here, and here a large portion of our collections are replicated locally. By the end of the year, all of it will be replicated. So, let me talk about the Bookmobile project. So, we bought a van, and then we got some bookbinding stuff, and we got a satellite thing, and some printers, and we can make books. So this is the Bookmobile. So we built a prototype. It cost about $30,000 for everything. We bought the van used, and then we go around and we can print books for about $1. So there's no books here, but I should have brought some books. Usually bring books. So we can print books for about $1, and it takes just a few minutes. Any book you can think of, there's a good chance we have it online. If it's 20 or 30 years old. So, so this is great. So, our favorite things to print out are things like Alice in Wonderland, Wizard of Oz. We can do color books. Color books are $2 or $3 a book. But these are like real books, 150-page books, real binding. We bind them. We do everything. We've like the glue, I don't know, 20 cents. The papers, another like 18 cents. I mean, we've really broken down the cost. So it's really cool. And the idea is to have 1 million books in a van. And so India is making 30 of these. And they're just going to drive around India and print books for people. And they're totally into it. So it's cool.
Literacy program.
Yeah, Anywhere Books is a spin-out group. Again, it's one of these things Brewster's kind of helped out a little bit. It's its own organization. They're going into Uganda, really working on medical books, health books, and going out and working with the government there in Uganda to help get people access to information. Because, there's out in the bush out there, you have an infection, you break a leg, there's a complication in a pregnancy. It's like, well, gee, we need to get a doctor. Well, there's no doctor here. Well, can we read about this? Well, 30 miles, there might be a library with, so if this thing cruises up to the village and says, okay, we're going to print out the 200 most important books that you really should have in this village, boom. A few hours later, they got the most important books they need to help that village, and they go to the next one. And they just drive, It's really amazing. Really, this technology is able to help people. So that's pretty cool. So that's the bookmobile. The search engine. The search engine is very cool. It's called Recall, recallarchive.org. So you go check it out. It's definitely in, I guess, beta, maybe alpha. I don't know. It was developed by Anna Patterson. And she's a really amazing woman. She has several children. And in fact, she has a really tiny kid who's maybe 3 months old. And she did this part-time for the last year, developed the largest search engine in the world. Actually, yeah, that's a big shh, don't tell Google, but this is actually the largest search engine in the world. 11 billion pages. It's going to get up to 20 pretty soon. So, and the reason that is because it searches space and time. Okay? So this is a search for Mozilla, right? It actually brings all the text, the links, and you can go look at all the, But what this shows is the term Mozilla on the World Wide Web is really peaked in popularity very recently. I don't know a lot about Mozilla, but you can put any term in there you want.
This is the Planet Moz dining room.
Yeah, I saw that. I thought, wow, how about that? Okay, so you can put anything you want in the search engine. It will search the archive back to '96, and it'll give you some graphs. It'll give you related terms. The related terms are fascinating, and it's amazing. What's actually even more amazing is most of it's written in Lisp, which is weird, but go figure. And a lot of it's developed in C as well.
The search results for the URLs?
Yeah, they're URLs. You click on them, and they bring you to the old webpage. Yep, that's exactly right.
Not contemporary URLs.
No, they're the old stuff. Yeah.
And all we do is go to recallarchive.org.
Recall.archive.org. Yeah. And so you just put this online recently, about a week ago. So it's kind of fun. So you can put, if you're out and about in the public, you put your name in, or if you're interested in a particular topic, you can really see, when did the world wake up and decide this was interesting? And you can kind of see, hey, look, in 1999, this got really popular, and then everyone forgot about it in 2000, and then it picked up again in 2002. And, there's some samples. If you go to recallarchive.org, if you look at Clinton, it shows you, and then if you look for Monica Lewinsky and Clinton, it's really interesting to see that after, what was it, when did that all happen? 99?
Yeah, 99.
So you got very popular all of a sudden after that, whereas before. So you can really start correlating kind of events in time and see when it impacted the collective conscious